Hello, beautiful, and welcome to the Moms Talk Sex podcast with me, Mor Yelvington, your host. I'm so excited for this magnetic conversation I'm going to have today with the beautiful Yola. Hey, Yola, how's it going?
Hi, great. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. I'm really excited for this conversation. So, how about you introduce yourself and tell us what it is that you do out in the world?
My name is Jola Cruise, and I'm a marriage mentor, and I help women find peace and connection in marriage. And if they are single, is to find their soulmate. And about 5 years ago, I almost divorced my husband because I thought he was the source of all my troubles and our dissatisfaction with my life and our relationship. But fortunately, I was able to turn it around, find a good way of how to speak to him, communicate with him, and the way of being that actually saved the marriage. And now what I do, I go around and I teach other women to do the same thing, especially moms. Moms are at my core because I grew up as a um, result of a single mom, and I can see how much it means when you have that male person in your family, so in your home. So even if it's not a husband, I usually encourage moms to actually look for mentors so the children can have both perspective.
I love that. So, what was the turning point in your relationship? How did you realize it wasn't your husband that was in fault, quote unquote?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I do have to tell you my story then. It was actually, we were pretty good in the beginning. We were pretty happy. And I moved from the East Coast to West Coast. My husband is a physician. So naturally I went into his manage his practice, and it was just everything was great. But then things started falling apart and we just started fighting. Then I went to marriage counseling. I was told to get a divorce when we had our first child. And I was like, what? Get a divorce? That's not what I was looking for. Then had two more children, went to counseling again, and that did not work because we kept complaining about each other and hoping that she would tell the other one to change. Did not work either. And then one day I was actually standing in the kitchen and I'm looking at my three little kids and I'm like, it would be just so much easier to just be a single mom.
Mm.
And because I was just so devastated, it was just every single interaction was painful.
Oh,
Yeah, so that was pretty hard. So
yeah.
what we did, we had an argument, like one of the hundreds of arguments in our house, daily occurrence. And I tried to push us out of the kitchen, and we end up under this arch. And we're standing there and we are yelling at each other. And suddenly my 6-year-old son, he squeezes in with his tiny body in between us. And he looks up with his pleading eyes and he screams, guys, just stop fighting. And shivers went down my spine. I could not believe this was the example I was giving to my kids.
Yeah.
That's how I was showing up. So that was the day, that was the breaking point when I decided either I will split up or I'll figure this out. And as it happens, when the student is ready, the master appears. And I went to my life coach at the time. I had a life coach forever. It wasn't helping with my marriage because it's really hard to actually get anything done when you're drowning, right? So I actually found, but she at least gave me resources. And then I found the coach, relationship coach. And just day by day with the support, I was able to restore my relationship. Within the first 3 months, our arguments were down by like 90%.
Wow.
So it was amazing. And then we just started kind of loving each other again. We started being happy with each other. The kids weren't scared anymore. And it was just really absolutely amazing. And then our 14th wedding anniversary, what happened was because we had a lot of bad anniversaries, let me just say that. But on our 14th wedding anniversary, we're standing in the kitchen with my husband and we're hugging the opposite. And the kids just flocked around us and they screamed, family hug. I was like, oh my gosh, I created that
Yeah.
out of nowhere because I grew up with very bad examples. Like I had zero good examples,
Yeah.
literally zero good examples. My mom was divorced, my second marriage falling apart. My grandparents were married for 70 years and had 10 children together. And they hated each other so much that not only did they live in separate rooms, they were on two separate floors, two separate kitchens. And out of the 10 kids, all of them had bad marriages,
Wow.
right? That tells you something. Now my
Yeah.
mom is the only one who has a really good marriage because we fixed it. I went back and I helped my mom to actually fix her marriage.
So, what are some things you had to work on yourself to get to keep your marriage going? Like, what was that aha moment that shifted? I mean, I know that you started working on it because of what happened with your child, but what actually happened in you that had to shift it?
It was realizing that I was blaming a lot. I
Mm,
was being ungrateful. I was blaming him for everything, for when he worked too much or too little, the way he was with the kids. I didn't like it. I even blamed him for when he got sick. So all the things was just a lot of blame and a lot of complaints because that's how I was taught. And that's what I saw everywhere. All the mommy groups I belong to would just sit down and complain about our husbands,
Yeah.
but nobody gets happy that way. So when I
No.
realized that I was blaming so much and I was being I didn't see anything good that he was doing. So when I started noticing the things I could be grateful for, that's when things started changing.
Yeah. Gratitude always cancels judgment. It's one of the biggest
Yes.
things. I mean, you can be grateful, it just shifts everything, the whole point of view. And so now you are a marriage mentor. So, what are some things that women can do, moms that are listening, to start really magnetizing the relationship that they want?
That's a very good question because it's like, how can you change when you don't know what you're doing, right? And
Exactly.
yeah, I in my 6 months program, I teach a whole module on just relinquishing control. It's control is like this monster that just sticks its head out, and you have no idea where it's coming and what it looks like. Therefore, you cannot get it out. But we control on a daily basis. So imagine if I go to work and I'm really directing, correcting everyone. I tell the kids what to do. I tell everyone what to do. And then I come home and I apply the same skills with my husband. Well, guess what? It doesn't work because marriage is not an employment contract, right? He doesn't, I don't own him. And me telling him what to do just doesn't make any sense because
Right.
why would I be telling him what to do? I don't tell other people who are my friends what to do. But many times we'll tell our spouse and then we're surprised they don't listen.
Right.
So not only we're telling them, we're nagging, asking them what to do, but it's also they can't hear us. So my approach is a little different. And it's like, I'll just have a little short demonstrations. So this is where I go to work. This is maybe sometimes when I deal with my kids, I changed it even the way I deal with my kids now. But I'm used to this mode of being. Like imagine the go mode, right? We get into the tight face and just going, do this, do that. And I come home to my husband, if I speak like that, he's just gonna turn around and leave. So what I do, I teach women to do this. Change your hat from the directing, correcting to the soft feminine hat.
Yes.
And the soft feminine hat looks more like that because that's how you were when you first met, right? Or maybe if you're looking, that's what you're going to show up in the beginning. You're going to show up as the soft feminine self. And that's what's really magnetic for men. That's what I can hear. It's changing the tone of the voice, it's changing the way of being, and it's changing the way we speak, right? So that's
So
the number one.
I love that you're saying that, but I'm thinking, okay, you're a mom, right? You are covered in children all day. You're working, you're trying to cook, you're trying to clean, you just feel like everything is on you. How do you shift that mindset to now I'm this feminine goddess in my home and he's just gonna see me and want to come to me, right? Like how does that happen in real life?
Well, it's impossible to do it just like straight and go, right? Because when you're depleted, when you're tired, when the kids are all over you, and you are doing everything, it's impossible to be intimate because now you're just rejecting and resenting the person who just came home. Like I deal with that all the time when I have young moms. They have kids all the time, and then the husband works for 10 hours a day because guess why? He's working 10 hours a day. He doesn't want to come home because he's going to get home. He's going to have to work again. But not only he's going to come home, he's going to have to work again. He's going to maybe see a wife who's exhausted and depleted,
Yeah,
right? And who wants to deal with that? So it's better, it's much safer. He gets more recognition at work, he gets more platitudes, all that stuff stays there. But so it's shifting and looking for help. Uh, it's asking for help when we can. It's taking care of yourself, putting your priorities first. And I know moms are so used to just being there for others. I become a mom, I lose myself. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, maybe I'm a business owner, whoever I am. But who am I? So
yeah,
when you lose yourself, then you live in this constant state of resentment.
right.
And pretty soon you can even look at your kids and you resent them. Like, you took my life away. But guess what?
Mhm.
They never asked us to give our life away. We did
No,
that. I did that to myself. For 10 years, I was fighting with my husband. For 10 years, I resented him for making me do the things I thought I had to do. And you know what really he cared about? He cared that I'm happy, that I'm provided for, that I'm a good mom. I didn't have to work 12 hours a day, but I thought I did. I had to prove my worth. And for many moms who stay home moms, they feel like they have to prove their worth to the husband that they are working too. So therefore, they take all the responsibility for the kids and they leave nothing for the husband. But then the husband's like, I'm useless at home. I might as well just not do anything. So it's a very fine balance of how we actually shift that out. So it's not like, hey, do this. It's more like, I would love some help. I love when this thing is clean. I love that. I love this. It's more from a softer place. When it comes from us, they can't wait to help.
Yeah. So how does this translate into the bedroom? How do you see
Mm.
this happening in the bedroom? What changes in the bedroom?
So what I see the most is if a woman comes to me, for example, and I deal with that a lot, is if she comes and she says they have not been intimate. My couple that I had the longest time was 15 years, they were not intimate. 15 years,
Wow.
right? Both
They
retired.
weren't intimate for 15 years, no sex
Correct.
for 15 years,
No
but still
sex.
marriage.
Still
Wow.
married. 18 years married. 18 years married.
Wow.
And 15 years with no sex. And they were a little older couple, right? So on a second marriage. And when she started working with me, we actually spoke about feminine, masculine energy, how to receive, how to speak, how to shift out of the do mode and understanding the masculine, feminine. She shifted so much that literally he came to her one night and he just slipped into the bed and initiated.
Wow.
And it was just really magical because now they can laugh, they can have fun, they go take showers together, they hold hands. Maybe it's not every day for sure. But that even if you have it, like let's say once a month, that's
Right.
already a different feel because you're no longer with a roommate, you're with a lover,
Yeah,
right? So
you're
it's
sparking back that energy. You're sparking
correct.
back that feminine that has been
Yeah.
on for so long.
And even those little interactions, slapping somebody on the butt and the different things, we forget that as women. Unfortunately, when we get into the family mode, we forget that a husband exists and that he's important. We go into the kids are the most important. But
Right.
I usually coach my women. I'll just say, even if your husband doesn't feel like he's the most important, at least pretend. At least in the beginning, pretend that he is. Tell him that he is. That's what I did for the longest time. My kids would come and ask, Mom, who is the most important? Who do you love the most in the family? And I have 3 kids. I'm like, Daddy. I was like, why Daddy? Because he was before you. And if he
Yeah.
wasn't there, I wouldn't have you. Okay. And they're happy with that,
Yeah.
right? Because they know they're not the most important. They are extremely important to me. Don't get me
Right.
wrong. But my husband, like, he is my partner. He is my buddy. Like, that's who I do life with. They're going to grow up and leave for college. I'm going to be still with my husband.
Right.
So our priorities change because we feel like the kids need us so much. And suddenly we're the experts on raising kids and the husband knows nothing. But it's
Right.
only he doesn't knows nothing because we don't let them anywhere close. And if they do something, we complain. It's very hard. It's a kind of like a reality check. That's what it was for me. That's
Yeah.
why I changed so much because I was doing all the things that were just pushing him away.
So what would you say are like maybe 2 or 3 things that you can start that women that are listening can start changing right now, that they can start doing to implement, you know, to become more magnetic in the bedroom right
Take care of yourself. Even you are told that maybe it's selfish to take care of yourself. It's not selfish. It's actually survival. You have to take care of yourself. You cannot pour from empty cup. You just can't. I mean, you can be sexy mama and all that stuff if you're constantly working, if you're constantly doing. And if you can take care of yourself, and I usually have my clients go and create a list of 10 or 20 things that you like to do. And you know what happens? They're stuck.
now.
Same like I was, because I was like, I don't know. My kids like this, my husband likes this, but what do I like?
Yeah. Hmm.
And does it have to make sense? Does it have to be healthy for me? Does it have to be good for me? It doesn't. It just has to be something that you like and that you enjoy. And sometimes people feel like self-care is 2 hours, 3 hours, it's a weekend. No, sometimes it
No.
could be 2 minutes.
Right.
Right? It could be a breath, could be just touching your face when in the morning when you put your lotion on, instead of putting like this, which we usually do, is doing just that. Very gentle, loving your body. Just feel in your body. Because when you feel like that, it's like magnetic. My husband can't pass by if I'm taking a bath. But before, I used to feel like taking a bath was a waste of time.
Right.
See, I had agendas that I had to get things done. So I wouldn't take a bath for probably like I would just take showers for like 7 years. And now I take a bath 2, 3 times a week sometimes. But that's the time, that's the opening that my husband will come and start talking to me. Because I'm just sitting there, I'm relaxed, I'm open, we can just talk. If it leads to something, it leads to something. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But there's no expectation. There's just like this lightness.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love that so much. And
Mm.
you guys listening, you can feel the energy shift just when Yola's talking. The energy just shifts so much because when you are in your body and you're present and you're letting go and you're open, you're actually allowing things to come in. And I love that you can feel that from your voice speaking about it. I think that's so powerful. So if we want to find out more about you, working with you, where can we find you?
I'm on Facebook. I'm on Facebook a lot because most of my clients are moms. So that's where moms hang out in the mommy groups. And it's Yola Cruise. You can just search me up, Yola Cruise. And it's like Ocean Cruise, Cruise.
Yeah.
And Yola is Jola. And I also, I'm going to give you a gift today, actually. I
Yes.
would love to give you a gift today, which is really amazing because if you're asking, like, more was asking me, like, how do you do it? Right? Like, but how do you shift? It's like taking that first step. So my gift is actually if you feel overwhelmed all the time and if you're feeling that you're making decisions for everybody else and your kids run to you for answers and your husband is running for you to you for answers and you feel like you have this world on your shoulders, that gift that I'm giving you today is going to help you start shedding that away. Start redirecting people, start getting them to do things for themselves that they can do. But because we're doing it for them, they can't. So it gives
Right.
empowerment to everyone around you and it takes the load off of your shoulders. And you actually believe that things will get done. Yes, maybe they won't be 100% the way you want them to, but they will be done. And that's a huge progress because you don't want to manage other people's lives, because then you don't have time for self care and then you don't have time for
It's so
intimacy.
true. I have to share with you, just the other day, my youngest were watching a show together and it was getting late and I had this giant pile of laundry on the bed and she said, "Can we just watch this show before we go to bed?" And I said, "Well, I have to fold this giant pile of laundry and I have to put your brother to bed, so it's not going to work out." And she said, "What if I fold the laundry while you put him to bed and then we can watch the show?" And I said, "Yes, brilliant." And so
Mhm.
that's what happens. I put the little brother to bed. She folded all the laundry. She's 8. It was amazing. And then we spent time and watched our show together, and it was amazing. And so
Wow.
allowing her to take responsibility and do more things around the house, which she does, but that came from her. So I didn't have to battle or fight about it. It was just an in flow thing that happened. And that's just part of asking for things to show up and being willing to allow them to show up.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what I do many times, like I have kids similar ages, but what I'll do if they do something I really like, I'll brag about it forever. Multiple
Yes.
times. I'll tell their dad, I'll tell their brothers, "Oh, I can't believe Juliet helped me out with the laundry today. She was so helpful." And I'll like whisper to somebody else so she hears me. And they're like, "Oh, when I did this thing, mommy really liked it." And then we got to watch a movie together. And now it grows the confidence that I can know what to do. So we're truly sabotaging ourselves as moms many times
Yeah,
because we
many
feel like we
times.
have to do everything and then they don't have an opportunity to grow.
Right.
So I'm really
So
glad
true.
that she suggested that and you took her up on it because you could have just said, "Oh no, I'm gonna do it," because you thought that you would do better.
Right.
But guess what? That would strip her away from the experience. And does it really matter in the
No,
end of the day? Right?
no. I'm just like, if you want to fold my laundry, you can do all the laundry, please.
Exactly. There you go. There you go. And yeah, getting them enrolled into it. That's fantastic.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for this amazing conversation. This was so eye enlightening and I just love the energy of it. So I just want to really thank you for that. I love that. And thanks for being here. And if you guys want to know more, just go follow Yola Cruz. She's amazing, as you can tell. And her gift is going to transform your life. I'm so excited to check it out too. So thanks for tuning in, and I will tune in again with you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.